Hey people, here I am again. I realized the other day I called myself the big kid. I said, "Hey, the big kid is here." And then I realized in Purple Rain, Prince went by the kid. So it was kind of funny to me. Chuckle, chuckle. uh, it's Halloween. My son was so sweet, you guys. He went to a family's birthday party. She had rented out the rink for her kid's birthday, and they went there and she made the greatest Halloween buckets. Hold on, I want to show you. Uh, for the kids there. And my son, Isaiah, he's so sweet. He works at Taco Bell and then he always plays basketball all day and he's trying to be real fit. So he brought me this entire, he's 18. It's a big bucket too. It's not even little. All these goodies and everything. I didn't have to trick or treat in the rain or do anything silly like that. He brought it all to me and I dumped it out on the counter. I thought he was going to make me pick through and take only what I wanted. And he said, "No, you can have it all." So thank you, Isaiah. You're the sweetest. And TT, you did a great job on what you did today. Anyways, you guys, welcome. I decided to try out this black background, maybe see if it'd be a little less distracting. And that way, when I want to show you something, it won't be distracting. I mean, with all the papers I have usually around me in the background. That's what I mean by distracting. I was talking to my daughter, Vanessa, and I said, "You know what it feels like to go on live?" And I compared it before to jumping off a high dive, but she hit it right on the head. And she said, "Well, I suppose it's similar to taking off your clothes in a room full of strangers." Well, it's very true. A few of us in my family have been adult entertainers, myself included in the past, so I do know what it's like. You know, we were, so I'm not ashamed of it. It's in the past, which doesn't even really exist anymore. But not that I'm ashamed of anyway. But it is like coming on live, hitting live button. It's like what I was going to say is to compare that to that adult entertainment industry is like this video. I always watch them back, and I find myself kind of apologizing for sounding crazy or sounding this way or that way. And I'm not going to do that anymore because it is my experience. And though I've already established I know what it sounds like, it is my experience and I can't fully experience it, nor can you until I stop apologizing for it. So I want to say that. Again, it could affect some people's senses because they do talk about religion and things like that. But I am here to spread a message that is so, the depth of it is astonishing. And if you don't listen, somebody's going to bring it back to your attention someday. So you're going to want to listen. And it's not because of me, it's because the Creator told me these things to tell you. Okay. I've actually, it's pretty cool coming here and expressing myself, I guess, because I never felt comfortable to do that in my life. People that know me may have said I was pretty boisterous or, opinionated or, always friendly, always in a friendly, honest manner. Always wanted to be right, thought I was right, stuff like that. But I don't know. Sometimes I'm shy and sometimes I'm all out there. It just depends on the job that needs to be done. So I always say before that depends on the personality that you're going to get. So here, you guys, the title of this video is Vampires, Prince Rogers Nelson, Kingdom Hall witnesses there, and I forgot what else I called it, but they all do come together. Now, I had an epiphany recently that I want to share with you guys because, again, it's like going naked in front of a room full of people. I need you to understand, as I make myself understand also, that I know myself. I know I'm a rational, thinking, intelligent, loving woman, human being, Elizabeth, that I know myself to be. So when I hear things, the creator, when I hear the voice and I'm having a rational conversation and I'm writing all these things down in Hebrew that make sense, that I can explain them to you in a way that makes sense, well, then I'm asking you to please understand and hang in there with me with the visions, because though they can be hard to explain and understand, it's like when you're sleeping and you have a dream. I have what I can liken to a dream. Well, not only while I'm dreaming, but also while I'm awake. When I meditate purposefully, obviously, usually with music, and just sometimes even when I'm just wide awake. So these things, they happen. They're like dreams. So that's what I need you to understand. And people can say, "Well, your dreams aren't real," but then I would say to you, how do you know that? I happen to know that they are. They're another part of our existence. They're another part of why we experience deja vus. So that's what I mean to say when I say I can hear. I guess I've accepted the fact that, I personally want to stop apologizing for the fact that I can hear from their creator. The world calls him Prince Rogers Nelson, Prince, whatever. There's a reason why it's him. I'm going to try to break that down for you tonight, and I'm going to show you proof. I've been putting in some work to try to present this in a way that you guys can understand it, and with Hashem's help, we can do that clearly. Um, I'm going to have to drink from my big cup every once in a while because my mouth is dry. I do apologize. I don't have a better way to do that right now because I gave all my icy water in there. I guess I could do a polite little cup or something. Okay, before I get into things, people that might watch this from a biblical aspect, I am not like, I know what's in the Bible generally, but if I misquote scripture or this or that, like I said, I can't apologize for it because the Bible is only one book. Uh, if you haven't studied the Dead Sea Scrolls or, the sages that told stories from one mouth to the other. And on that, I want to say something before I forget. I listened to Rav Dror. He's a rabbi on YouTube. I'm sure you guys have seen me post him on my Facebook. I wanted to say something. When he speaks, he says things in his speeches that make me remember things that I experienced from my life experience, and like also the visions that I have and the things that I'm told and the Hebrew things that I learn and that I write down, the speeches that he gives. It's like somewhere in my brain I've heard those things before, and it enables me to have them, and it enriches my experiences that much more fully. And so I was thinking, with my old soul self, that must have been how they taught or something. And I think that's really cool because then it's kind of like a secret, because only the person that you're telling the secret to that knows about the secret will know. And that's like kind of how the elite do. And that's why it's such a big hush hush secret, the big one eye, it's a secret because it's like the more they teach, it's only going to make sense to the people that know. So I'm hoping to start realizing myself that this video will make sense to people that know, and that's where it'll get passed around and not to people who don't want to know. So I just want to say right off rip that not going to always, I'm going to try not to refer back to my former videos. I'm going to treat this one like you haven't seen them. But in the other one, I do discuss that I have lived my life up to a certain point as a Christian person. I believed the Jesus only son thing. I was water baptized. I took my girls to all the different churches. I experienced fully for 20 plus years all the different religions. So I speak from an educated and a well experienced place. I just want to say that right off. However, when I read my Bible, all it left me doing was wanting more. It was like, reading a great romance novel or reading, at least the Old Testament. you want more. It's like, wait, that explanation, it just never was enough for me. So I continued to look and read books on Kabbalah and different things like that. And that started to come about in about 2013. Um, I mean, I was baptized back in the 90s, but the Kabbalah came in 2013. And so through that, I started researching not only religions, Hebrew. I actually reached out, try to find a rabbi. I just felt somewhere deep down that maybe I had that in me, in my blood or something. I don't know who my father's like side of the family is, and much past my great grandma on the maternal side, but I'm starting to think there's some of that in me, and whether there is or not, it's my soul. So um, the language was always real pretty to me, and I just want to say that I always wondered why, if that's the way God created, why we were so far from it, the ancient Hebrew ways and things like that. So I reached in that way to learn more about, like when I read my Bible, like, and I wanted to make it more sense. I was like, wait, where'd the beautiful original language go? And so started looking into those things, and through that, I not only discovered the Kabbalah, which don't confuse with the Kabal, that's the negative side of things. In case you don't know, the Kabbalah is the old Hebrew way of sharing a certain knowledge. And that's what I'm talking about in the Kabbalah, is the dark practices that take that knowledge and use it for purposes that I'll touch on later, that I don't like to touch on, but I will. Now, I have had people, family members say, I believe what's in my Bible, and nobody's seen or talked to the face of God, and nobody knows, and nobody knows. Well, I got to stop caring about what people like that think, because I know, and I'm here to share it with you, because we all have to know, because until we all share this information and make it the big deal that it is, these entities will remain in place. So I took some pretty good notes today, you guys. I tried to. What I wanted to share with you, there's a real good channel on YouTube. I know I don't get everything from YouTube, but it is a source when you know what you're looking for. The Fifth Kind, Paul somebody, he has a good channel. And when I watch, I flip through, you just like when you read the Bible, you don't, oh, this isn't just the final word. You have to put it with wisdom and discern, obviously. But anyway, he was talking about the ancient narratives of the world and things like that. And even if you consider that you're a Bible believer, and you look at your encyclopedia with all the pictures, and you see the ancient Sumerian and Mesopotamian lands and stuff like that, and you think hunter-gatherer, this, that. I don't know what your mind thinks, but that's what's been shown to us, like in Bible books. The good old blue Bible book, the one that kids get shown with Noah's Ark and everything. We all got shown the same one here in America. Anyway, those narratives, everybody tends to think about the ancient beings as peoples, like just like you and me, because that's the way they're shown in the book. However, when you do your studies, you start to understand that the Mesopotamian, the Sumerians, the cuneiform writings, all of the cuneiform tablets, they refer to the Anunnaki. They're ancient sky people. They're that they have a king's list. You guys, let me see. Their king's list listed a dynasty that listed 24,510 years, 3 months, 3 days, 3.5 days. Anyway, it was right down. I can't read my own writing sometimes, but it was right down to the letter. So each king had to have reigned for more than 1,000 years each. So what I'm getting at is, though in the Bible, even in the lineage of uh, Adam, it goes on to say that they lived 930 years and 800 and, so on and so on. But prior to that, go do your studies. There's the King's List and the cuneiform tablets that the Anunnaki wrote. And those are the ancient sky peoples. And when I say ancient sky peoples, you guys, this is where I mention the word vampire. I had to make myself comfortable with that word, because I never really thought about it much. But and plus, the movies have romanticized it on the one hand, but then I was doing some research on vampires just to kind of familiarize myself with what the mythologies, as the world teaches, what they were. I didn't really know, but you watch a couple movies, you understand that, they have to have blood to survive. And that's what I think people think about vampires for the most part. But it's not just blood that they're taking, because the human soul is in the blood. Um, it's why you bleed out. If God forbid something were to happen to someone and they bleed to death, it's like it's bleeding out. Your soul is bleeding out. So if in fact, a vampire were taking that blood, they're actually taking your soul. And I think that the blood was just more dramatic way to depict that in the movies or something. I'm going to leave that there for a second. In the soul, there is energy. Every one of our souls has a holy, divine, gorgeous spark of energy that was given to us by our Creator. We wouldn't be here in our vessels that He gave us. So those sky people, the Creator was of that race, and it was DNA, it was genetics, you guys. It was just pure genetics. Because again, if you do your research, pardon me, or I did it for you, in Enoch, in the book of Enoch, which was taken out as well. That's when they talk about in chapter 6, they talk about the 19 fallen angels, or bad, whatever they were, sky people that had sex with the daughters of men. Because when these people, ancient beings, started to have daughters, they found them very pretty and they had sex with them, and they made a race of beings. And I believe that line is still here in America, and that's where things go way back to, like, the persecution of Jewish people, way back to the Spanish Inquisition and the Jews that were there before that, everything, you guys, the stories. And that's not just for no reason. You can say, yes, it happened to Native Americans and African Americans as well, because yes, it did, because same old story, same old situation. It's beat down anything that doesn't comply or work out with the master race, so they think. So anyway, they consider themselves the master race. That's what the NW goes by, the master, New World Order, the master race. That's what they want. White supremacist master race has always been the same. And it goes back this far, you guys. Now, they want you to read your Bible and think, oh, it's fun to think about, again, that maybe not fun. I'm sorry, that's not the right word. That the story, like I said, about Jesus being crucified and being gone, and just don't think about any of this stuff that Elizabeth is talking about. But you have to think about it, because it's true, and it will get you to the answer if you keep listening to me, because I'm doing my best to teach you. Anyway, the Elohim, the word Elohim, it really, from the way I was studying and listening to Paul teach, he said it meant the powerful ones. And then I got to remembering when I passed on that day, like I said, there wasn't just the Creator there. There was other entities there that were also very powerful. Though the Creator was over all of them, they still had a certain amount of power that they had to go by according to the word that was set forth in the beginning. So there are other entities, timekeepers, things like, I don't know, I ain't trying to get all into that, but these powerful ones, like, they run like this heavenly court. And in the beginning, I don't know, I think the Creator put a word of exile or something for some reason, because we all need to fix ourselves probably. But anyway, you guys have to wrap your mind around the fact that these Anunnaki go way, way back. The King's List, 23 kings, 1,000 years each, and it's not mentioned in the Bible. The book of Enoch is not mentioned in the Bible. They just want you to think about Jesus and nothing else. It's not right. I wanted to know why, so I continued to look. Before I go forward in some very, very good information you don't want to miss, you guys don't want to miss any of it, I want to finish up on something. In the other videos, I talked about how the Kingdom Hall uses the word with the J as the witnesses. and how that word is against the law to say in Hebrew. And I think that it's like probably one of the most offensive things that they can do, even though they will say, well, the creator has a name and we're just saying his name. But that's a name that not everyone has earned, and it shouldn't be coming out of everyone's mouth. And in the day of redemption, I'm sure that'll be taken care of accordingly. But I want to make anybody who's not aware that those Kingdom Hall folks are not supposed to be using that name. So, on with that, on the vampire, the blood thing, I wanted to go back to that. If you did watch any of my other videos, you might see how I was talking about how these ancient peoples, sky people, man was created basically as a slave. I mean, it's true. They wanted our energy, and we were created as a vessel for that energy, so that they could harness that energy. And I'm sure for some other reasons, but I definitely know it's about the energy. So the energy that we have, they want, because they're very ancient and old and decrepit. Like, go look at the pictures of the Pope, and you know what I'm talking about, the lizard people and people that are questionable, Illuminati pictures, the was it Moravian, Luciferian family? Is it Moravian, something like that? Um, if you look up things evil and vile that I don't like talking about at all, it will tell you that there are beasts out there that uh, feast on children's blood, God forbid, and in New York have blood banks just for things like that. They want to stay young. They want souls. They want the energy of souls. So these things I'm telling you, you might want to focus on what they're selling on the lawn of CNN, on Fox News or CNN or whatever. But what I'm telling you is stuff that if it sounds crazy, go research it for yourself, because it's true. Okay. Those entities are run out of time. They've run out of energy, and they've run out of players, and it's time to stop all the madness. So I guess that's another reason why I'm here telling you all this stuff. Anyway, as far as the Kingdom Hall folks, and everybody knows how they don't take blood transfusions, and with the vampiric thing, sorry about that, it gets itchy down here and dusty. I was looking up as to why they don't take blood transfusions. And I was looking up, just on that note, just kind of curious to note that they base it on Genesis 9:4, that you should not eat the lifeblood within it. Leviticus 17:10, that you have to be those who sojourn among them eats of blood. If they eat of blood of one another, that he will cut off his face to them. The Creator would cut off his face if they from them. Should they eat of blood. And then Acts 15:29. Those are the three that they go by as far as not taking blood transfusions. And then also, you guys, I thought it was worth mentioning that with vampires, that there was actually a blood disease. I can't think of it right now, that they had, where they didn't and couldn't do the blood transfusions either. And I got to thinking with these ancient people's things, and I thought it was really kind of weird and scary-ish kind of at first. And I was like, I can't say that out loud. I can't. But then, I have to, because what I remember is this, you guys. If you watch one of my videos, my soul talk video, I think I'm wearing a burgundy sweater. I tell a great deal about my life after experience. And when I was there before I left, I remember that the Creator himself, he like put his arms, or made me cross my arms over my chest or whatever, and like Like, I told him that he could have my soul because his soul had saved my soul in my life. I don't know why he needed it at that point. I do now. Um, but I mentioned that because when I remembered that, it made me comfortable with the vampire thing. I don't recall being bitten on my neck or anything. I don't have any marks. But I do remember telling the prince, the one we know as Prince, the creator, that, see, if you did miss the other videos, I am saying that. I talked about how his music saved my life. I lost so many family members and so many things, and I never had anything to cling to through my life except for music. Even before I was 13 and started listening to Prince. But especially then, teenage girls' years and on up, when nothing else and no one else was there, it was the music. It taught me everything. So, again, with that experience, when I said I would give my soul for his soul and I would tell this story no matter how awkward it got, that's why I do it, you guys, because another thing that I recall he told me is that even though he is the creator, and maybe somebody would wonder, well, why doesn't he fix this, or why doesn't he fix that, or this or that, and I can't answer all those questions like that, but there's a certain limitation only based on the previous word that was set forth and being of your word. So even though ultimately everything is in his hands, and I'm sure that miracles and things always find a way to show themselves, and through his great love and through this experience I'm having, I know I'm experiencing it, so I'm trying to share it with you. I wandered a little bit because that stuff's kind of weird for me to talk about, truly. But what I'm trying to get you guys to grasp is that it was told to me that the Anunnaki and those kind of things, there's some sort of vampiric type ancient souls. And when I did pass away, what I spoke about in that other video is that I described that the creator showed himself to me as a big white-ish ancient type being. Like, it was just real pale white. I said kind of a bulbous face, that I remembered that when I looked through his eyes, I could see like the space, like the Milky Way in space and stuff like that. That was one of the forms that he showed me. And so it reminded me of like the Bram Stoker Dracula, the one where the guy has the white hair and whatever, and he's real white like that. There was like a depiction like that, except for the face wasn't there so much, but it was there. And he was very, very old, and he told me that he was the ancient one, the creator, the ancient one, and he was very, very old. And so when I died in 2010 and I met him there and he told me these things, he said that he didn't have a lot of time left or something like that. And all of these things that I'm telling you would come to fruition. And then we had that discussion about how I would give him my soul. And on that note, I want to share something with you guys. Me being comfortable with the things that I can hear, although, and sharing them with you, although I don't actually know if they're always 100%. I don't know, but this is the deal. I had three siblings, full siblings, and two of us born in Michigan, one in Alabama, and one in Tennessee. I was born in Michigan, says my birth certificate, but this is what's important. When I was somewhere in 4 to 10 months, I'm not sure, somewhere in there, because nobody's alive for me to ask and confirm with. But I do know enough family history and have had some bits and pieces to know that I was sent away from my parents to live with some relatives in West Virginia. And at that time, I had horrible asthmatic pneumonia, bronchitis times whatever, 100,000. And I was in this tent, and I don't know. I think what I'm hearing is that I died at that time as well, as a baby. And I have some really foreign memories about maybe being told that I don't know what was done with my soul. You guys have. I was at a Navy hospital though, and if tinkering was going to be done with experimentation and things like that, I remember when I died in 2010 that hearing something about it that somehow our souls, you guys, I don't know, I can ponder it forever, but I wouldn't know if it was accurate. But I was also told that my soul can't or didn't had died before, even though that happened as a baby, and even though I died in 2010. um, I also had this wild experience when I was driving on the freeway in Detroit one time. I spun out in front of, I don't know, 6 lanes of traffic and somehow ended up unharmed. And if you've ever seen Detroit traffic, you would really have to wonder how that happened. So I remember hearing something like that too. So I remember hearing that all my life I've had this so called invisible enemy that didn't want me to live. And yet here and still here I am. So I'm kind of proud of that. And that's another reason why I'm willing to come here and share these things with you. So I don't know exactly what happened or if something happened or if maybe, like I always refer to the Peabody and Sherman movie. The boy says at the end to the mean girl or whatever, he says, "Because I'm a dog too." Well, because I'm an alien too, I guess. Or something. I don't know. But check this, you guys, on the real. I want to share some things with you that will probably satiate your scientific side if you have one. I'm going to show you some things. Just one moment, please. Initially, I'm going to jump course here. Initially, in the spring of 2020, when the social distancing lockdown and everything came on, one of the things I started experiencing was this odd writing. I would take Prince lyrics to his songs, biblical scripture, voices, and the writing, like say for instance the Prince lyrics, I would write some lyrics down and then I would turn them upside down and write, but then other words would come that had nothing to do with the lyrics, which I show in a different video. But what that is been exposed to me is that it's like the Da Vinci writing. I call it mirror writing or gematria. It's like, I know that Da Vinci, if you study, will have been said, he was like an engineer for the war. He wasn't just an artist, painter, designer. He was under service. So check it out. I don't have time to educate on all that. But what I was told through this experience is that one of the things about Prince is that he told me that he came to this world through many of those ways, like as Da Vinci and that's why when he changed his name, they would call him the artist, the designer of life, the artist, right? Okay. So on that note, um, take a look at this, you guys. I need to get it square. Sorry, I can't be more professional about this, but for now, that's the way it goes. Okay, so what I want to share with you is at the top, it says David, okay, King David. Now, in the Bible, you hear, the lineage, you hear Adam's lineage, Noah, Adam and Eve, King David, but they really just kind of like, they talk about how great he was, and then it just kind of gets watered down from there. But that is another one, the great soul, who he told me that he is. And so these are how the words come out. So please look at the screen and pay close attention, because this is hard for me to do. So can't lean over this way. So anyway, in the spring of 2020, I heard the word, I don't like to say it out loud because I don't want my video to get cut. So this is David, okay? Think King David. Now, what I'm going to do, you guys, watch this. See how it says David? What if I put my finger, sorry, my nails are chipped, right over the line in the D? What do you see in backwards upside down writing? It looks a bit like COVID, 19, doesn't it? David. So what I mean to say is that in the spring of 2020, when I first started hearing that word, it was saying that to me, and now I know why. So right below that, what you see, you guys, is the way I'm going to try to show you how I see. The D breaks down to a CI. It's in parentheses. This is a C and this is an I. So I put it in parentheses. Okay, follow along, please. It's so important. Then this is an A, a small backwards, A. So then it comes down as a 6 or a 9. Okay, stay with me. VV 19, ID 19. So King David, DAVID, turns into a CI with these, which sounds a lot like 19, doesn't it? Yes, it does. And that's what was coming to me in the spring of 2020 as well. So I want to show you how that looks. Okay. Now remember that vowels are interchangeable. So if that's an I being carried down from there, it can be changed to an O very easily. And that's how vowels work. They're interchangeable. I before E except after C. Do you know why that we've been taught that? And speaking of, that's what it says right there. Because when you bring these words down, think about it. Think about the word ceiling. CEILING. Okay. Now, if you were to write CIE, do you see what it would appear to be? Lie. It looks like lie. So the C would, when you start to see things subliminally in your mind, it would look like lie. So that means that we would get accustomed to seeing the word lie. Therefore, in the breakdown from Hebrew to English, that's why we have the rule I before E except after C. It goes all the way back here because this is a C and an I. Now, guess what it comes after that? An A, CIA, all up in your bubble, right? Anyway, so King David, Da Vinci, you may have seen the Da Vinci Code. I didn't get any of this from that, although I did watch the movie about 6 weeks ago, and it completely makes sense to what's happening to me. I can tell you that. So also the CIE, if you were to look at it that way, would be lie, or pi, which we were talking about the pi equals 314 equation in the upside down backwards rating. That's just how it comes out. Okay, so stay with me. I got a lot more to show you, and it's really cool. Now, from what I understand in Hebrew and the way I studied, there's no C or I. It goes Aleph, Bet, Gimel. It's like a G. It's not a C. And so there's no C or I. So that's what this page says, is that there's no C or I. And it goes on to, I want to share something with you. I don't have to have you look at this one. In the spring of 2020, before I knew this information about the Hebrew and the way it breaks down, I came across something, and I need you guys to write this down. It was called the Corani Mine in Peru. CORANI, mine in Peru. In the spring of 2020, when I went into that weird mind space, I was showing it, and I don't have too much time to talk on it now, but I wrote on it here. It's if there's no C or I in the Hebrew language, and I came across this mine, and what it had was a forward-looking statement. It was talking about how it would be used for silver and some other things. Go look it up. It's no coinkydink that there's no C or I in the language, and that there is that mine that says, well, if this certain thing takes place, then we might be able to make you this much money as an investor. But if only this happens, then blah, 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 blah. So people can say, yeah. But what I'm saying is they plan on using slavery, just like in the mines, like in the Exodus in the olden days. That's what I'm getting at. Cut right to the chase on that. So stay with me, guys. The three mother letters, Aleph, Mem, and Shin of the Hebrew alphabet. In upside down writing, maybe you guys can start to see this with me. The mother letters here. What the elite do is they take it and they make their own shapes and letters with it. And this one spells out NWO. And that's where they get the NWO. Okay. That's just among some other things that I have jotted down for you to see. Now, the value that you see there, that's the Aleph. That's the 1. The Mem is 40, and the Shin is 300. But if you remove the zeros, you have 143, which is again pi. Okay. So stay with me. I explained a lot of that on the other videos. But also the NWO, you know how Prince has that song Now? The NWO is the New World Order, in case you don't know, but it also spells out in upside down writing the name that you're not supposed to say. And for those of the, I don't even want to say it. You're not supposed to say it. It's the blank witnesses. You're not supposed to say the word that starts with a J. It's just not supposed to be done. So the NWO is that, and that's how it's spelled in upside down writing. Now hold on. I'm going to go over a couple of mathematics with you. Isn't that fun? I explained this on the other video, you guys, the other day, but this book I wrote for myself, and it kind of goes in order, so I don't want to lose my train of thought. I always talk about the 1776 Declaration of Independence that we were sold, turning into the year 1777. Well, myself, I came to find out why that is, and I didn't know it before last night, actually. Take a look at this, you guys. I'll explain it to you in a minute. The name David in Hebrew, okay, is Dalet Vav Dalet. So even though these all look like sevens, I showed this the other day. So it's the numbers 1 through 11, and then the Hebrew Aleph, the Bet, and the Gimel, and so on. So what you will see is the 4 is Dalet, okay? It looks like a 7 with a little hook, okay? This 5 is the Hey, which looks like a 17 or the Pi. And the Vav looks like a 7 also. It's just the way it is. I don't know if they're perfectly drawn, but it's basically how they look. So the name David is Dalet, Vav, Dalet, 777. Basically, if you're looking at it in that kind of writing, it's what it looks like in the way. So we were sold the 1776 as the Declaration of Independence, turning into the year 1777, which is supposed to be coincidentally the name of King David. I can't get too far into the Declaration of Independence talk here, but I was told this, you guys, too, that we all know that 1776, if you add the sevens, it equals 21. 1777 would equal 22. As discussed, Yom Kippur just passed. The Jewish New Year went from 5781 to 5782. It's 21 to 22. The pi equation itself, that's what this talks about, is 1776 to 1777 being 21 to 22. The Yom Kippur, 5781, 5782. Now, early on, in my early writings, I was writing all the time that they I didn't know who they were, but that they were trying to make a new pi. And I was like, new pi, what are they talking about? Or myself, I was doing the writing. And it's the way the timekeeping, they're trying to trap time. They're trying to make us all hysterical and trap time and trap anxiety so that they can use that energy that I was talking about earlier with the souls. So anyway, here, you guys, I want to go on and show you a couple things too. The word Adonai, Adonai, Adon, add an I. These things might sound overly simple the way I'm breaking them down, but they are that way when they're broken down to their simplest forms. So if you add an I, you can add AI, which is also what? A 19 upside down. Okay. So AI 19, same thing. This just goes on to discuss that the I am Ani in Greek, anti-Christian, think anti-Christian. All through this, in the lyrics, when I heard the Prince lyrics my whole life, they would make me think of Bible study. They would make me think about Daniel, the prophet, sitting here in an all white room, feeling like the color blue, thinking about the words that I can use to get this through to you. A million mistakes, and then some I've made with the ones before. It would make me think about Daniel because he would, I don't know, meditate. And there's a white room, some stuff like that. He wore the purple. It always, it always made me think about biblical things, and so to me, also, like I said, when I would hear the music, I would tell everybody, you got to listen to this because no genius of this level sings. It's like God is singing to you. In music, you can hear everything. You can hear the answers to life. You can hear you can hear how to have peace. You can hear everything. And that's just how I heard. And so, anyway, one of the other things I heard today was, how it was Prince and the Revolution. Well, I wrote the word revolution, and then it came to me, was told to me that you guys might not be able to readily see it, but if you would trust me, please, it's how it is in upside down writing. Revolution is actually Revelation 13:18. Now, in Revelation 13:18, that's when they talk about the meaning of the number of the beast, the 66, the 666. That's in 13:18. So that's what I think he was trying to warn us about in Prince and the Revolution, was the 13:18, and that he was going to be used as this programming for the 666 Antichrist. What I put there was that, see, when I write, the revolution turned into Revelation 13:18, which I bring the 3 down, and then I bring the 18 down, which 3 times 6 is 18 in and of itself, right? Right. So you bring the 3 down again, the 18, 666, 6 times 3 is 18, and Revelation 13:18 is talking about just that, but it's built right into the name. That's subliminally how we've been programmed, just like the Cokes at the drive-in movies, and the French fries when you go to get something to eat. Okay. So what does it also equal? Sorry, I can't see that upside down. Oh, sorry. So bring down the 3, 666, and 3 plus 18 is 21 also. So in Revelation 13:18, it talks about the number of the beast, and let the man be wise that knows about this number of this beast. And the Creator has made me, Baruch Hashem, I'm so grateful, you guys, to be sitting here and sharing this with you. And it's going to make sense to you eventually. And I got a really powerful page coming up next, so I want you to look at it, please. I always talk about the programming, MK Ultra programming. MK Ultra is something our American government admits to. And you can do your research, and Wikipedia will tell you that it was, blah, 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 and the acid and the this and that. And then movies like Pineapple Express, they make fun of MK Ultra and smoking weed and stuff like that. But basically, the opioids and the things and the way that MK Ultra actually broke down was a psychotic mind trip to make human beings suffer and to create a false God. They wanted the opioids to take the place of God, which is why we have so many people falling to the opioids, because the high that they get creates a false sense that they are with God in that euphoric state. And that's what it was created for. And that's what the MK Ultra was for, ultimately, to replace him. And so anyway, they tell you that stuff was done away with a long time ago, and I want to show you something. Take a real good look, because I can't describe this until I get a good look at it too. It says MK Ultra. Okay, now what I did is I looked at the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, and I took the first letter, Mem. I don't know if these are right pronunciation, but the Mem, Kaf, Vav. For each letter, I took that letter, as you can see, for MK Ultra. I don't have to explain it all to you. And I took the numeric code to that letter and carried it down. So, for instance, the mem is 40 in gematria, okay? And then I turned the 40 into a 4 because you dropped 0, and so on with the other letters of MK Ultra. Now, what I want to show you is very important. Please look. After you do that calculation with the Hebrew gematria, which is the original language, okay, carpentry, think about building blocks here. These are just building blocks that he told me. So, you guys, look here. The MK Ultra, their numeric equivalents. You bring 4 and 2 down, you get 6. You bring 6 down, you get 6. This is a 9. Actually, it's backwards. 9 take away 3 is 6. Okay? 2 plus 1 is 3. So here we have 6, 6, 6, 3. And there we have another 21. Okay? 18, 18, 3. And if you remember before, we were talking about Revelation 13, 18 and the code of the number of the beast. Go look up Revelations 13, 18. It's going to say, let the man have some wisdom about the number of the beast and the number 76 or something like that. Well, here's the number of the beast. MK Ultra. The opioid crisis. The lie that Prince Rogers Nelson will be the Antichrist because he was the offspring of, I believe, the offspring of a human and a sky person mother, or a human mother and a, I'm not sure, but that's why they refer to Paisley Park and him being the egg, because he has that alien-esque essence, which they've been using as that all-powerful source because of the contractual duties that were signed on in the beginning of time, so that he could tell me this story to tell it to you so that we could all be saved and nobody has to believe the lie when it happens. MK Ultra. Let me run that by you again. This is their gematria equivalent. 4 plus 2 is 6. You bring this 6 down, it's another 6, okay? 9 plus, or excuse me, take away 3 is 6. There's 6, and 21, that's 3. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 and 13. As in the song, if the number 13 is such a bad luck number when there's no such thing as luck, then the talons, berries, arrows, and stars are all superstitions. What the? Yeah, what the? This is what the, isn't it? Because this is some crazy stuff, you guys. And this was just disclosed to me last night. But this is probably one of my favorite gematria disclosures that I've had thus far. So I couldn't wait to share it with you. Ultimately, you guys, I have so many things like this written down. But it's getting closer and closer. I can feel it in the air. It's like that Phil Collins song. So you take the Hebrew spelling of MK Ultra and it spells out the number of the beast. Okay, I just showed you that. And if you want to see it, please go back, freeze frame, check it out. You guys, it's really deep stuff because on the one hand, I sit here saying, you know, that the one the world knew is Prince Rogers Nelson is the creator, but also is under these pressures and these things where he can be hurt and whatever. But it's like the Christ, sort of like where you take punishment on purpose for a specific reason, because sacrifice brings about what's necessary to save a humanity. And that's why the song Sacrifice of Victor says, sacrifice is a mother sublime. We love it. I'll sacrifice. People ask me, aren't I scared spreading this kind of information? I'm not, because of the things that I've experienced. I know that the Creator lives with me and in me. And I'm not scared of anybody or anything. I'm just not. I've already died or went over there, and I know when my time is, and it's not yet. And that's all in His hands, or I wouldn't be here sharing this with you. He told me that a lot of terrible things were going to be done to him. When I died, I think, I'm not 100% sure in 2010, but I think he told me that he was going to have to extend some work time or something. I'm not sure, which I feel really bad about, and I'm sorry. You guys, what if God was one of us? You know, he is, he was. The thing is, when great people, great souls walk among us, they can't be recognized in that generation because people are like, they have to be taught a lesson. They have to come to the understanding. They have to be taught. Um, these others that exist out there that want to suck up our energy, the energy vampires, they don't want our souls to continue any further than they have. Um, and there are some things that are going to happen pretty intensely, you guys. And again, I'm not trying to frighten you because my hope is to free you from that fear. But it's only to forewarn you of these things and to speak these things now, because whether or not, look, I'm not looking for recognition in my generation. I want to bring recognition to the Creator. I want to bring recognition to this lie. I want to bring recognition to the truth. And like I said in the beginning, I'm willing to come out here not truly nude, naked, but my soul is naked right now, you guys. It just is. I wish you could understand that. I know that you will. So what I was going to say is whether or not I'm recognized in this generation as great for sharing this information, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking to make the lie exposed, to make the Creator who he deserves to be after giving us everything that's been given to us, like especially me for getting this information. I have a great big duty and I'm trying to do it. Like I'm trying to do it the right way because it's what I do all the time. It's what I do every day. It's all I think about. Telling the truth. It's all I asked for when I died was the truth, and I got the truth. And now I have to tell you guys that the truth is that our souls are for sale. And when this RFID chip comes out and when they try to fashion a biblical war with the I am, the AI war, as the Gog Magog war that the Bible talks about, it's the AI war with I am. That's what it is, and they're gonna say it's something to do with aliens, something to do with some weird shit. It just is going to be that way. And sorry for cursing. It's just going to be weird. This whole thing is weird, but it's true. It's to instill as much fear as possible. But if you have these videos after this stuff goes down and you know that he told me these things to tell you, guess what's going to happen to all that fear? It's going to dissipate and you're going to know how real it is. And I'm willing to not only lay my naked soul right down right now, but my real soul down for his soul to take over and be where he needs to be. And he will, and he is, and he always will be. And I think it's probably been almost an hour, and I myself could talk forever. I don't know how long people will watch, so I might have to eat some candy now. Oh, look, 59 minutes. You guys, I know there's going to be some people out there that, you know, maybe they'll start to think it's cool what I'm saying, that I can hear from Prince Rogers Nelson telepathy style, and they told me he's a vampiric soul in some way, and that the Kingdom Hall folks that don't take blood transfusions have a reason that they base that on so deeply that if you do, that they will kick you out of their little group. Go watch the other videos if you want to learn how deep that goes. But I'm here to tell you that the media hype is going to come out that's what Prince was. That's what he believed. It's quite the opposite. And again, I'm making these videos, and I'll continue to make them to bring awareness to this. Now, I want to show you guys this. Check this out. It says love. See the word love? Love. if you take a line and you write it right down the middle of love, and then what you start to see is a little it can be a C, a little space COV, and this is an upside down E. And since vowels are interchangeable, I just ran that I right up there because it could be like an ID and ID 19, couldn't it? See how the opposite of love appears to read CO VAV ID 19? You get what I'm saying yet? It's the opposite of love. The other powerful ones who think that human souls don't need to be shiny, they can't stand our shine. They want to dampen our shine, and especially this Pride Piper shine. It's not going to happen. Love will conquer. It will. No matter what you try to take from me, no matter what you call me, no matter what you do. You don't know the family that I've raised. You don't know how strong we are. I love you guys. Thank you again for watching. Happy Halloween.